What is up, my Lorcana Goons, and welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. I'm joined with Zach Stone, where every Friday we talk about the market, the meta trends, and the card prices, and some Lorcana news. But Zach, first off, how are you doing this weekend?
I'm doing really well. It's about 3 weeks away to the North American Continentals. I'm excited. And hey, this Christmas trend seems to be happening every time so far. Lorcana cards start to kind of go down in price, and some things are more settling. People need that Christmas money. So, really excited to go over the cards we got for you guys today.
Definitely need that Christmas money. We have some ups, some downs. I do want to start off talking about the first chapter, just because the first chapter booster boxes have been selling this week for $320. It's like you said, we're getting very close to Christmas. If you guys celebrate this holiday or holiday season, I wish you guys an awesome holiday season. Yeah, 5 days till Christmas, man. It feels unreal. But booster boxes are flying for the first chapter. Plenty of sales for 320. They were selling for less than 300 a couple weeks ago. I want to say like in late November and early December, really close to that $300 mark. But now you're gonna have to pay more than that. Lowest verified is gonna be 311 with $15 shipping, so almost 330 actually. That's gonna be Bubble Squirtle cards for a first chapter booster box. And we did get confirmation that in that new it's like a reprint set almost. It feels like a special edition. It's like a little box that's going to come with a pack from sets 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6, I think, actually. But it does not come with a pack of first chapters. So what could that mean? Do you think that means first chapter is done printing? Maybe they just decided they don't want to include it there. But the first chapter booster box is going up a little bit in price. I want to talk about some enchanted rare cards like Arthur, King Victorious. I've been seeing people play this in their blue steel decks. Not necessarily the enchanted version, but just the card in general, right? And when I see cards being played like that, I tend to look at their enchanted and see what's going on with their price. And it hasn't really moved too much from like $68 to lowest verified is now 71 with $3 shipping, then 73 with $1 shipping by Cider House and Bluffum. So it's going to be around $73. But I don't know. This card's I've been seeing it played in a Sapphire Steel. It lets you challenge ready characters. It gives a character a challenger +2 and resist +2. Zach, what do you think of the card?
I saw this being played once in combination with the Tinkerbell, and boy, oh boy, is that it, I would say a very scary combination. So this card might see some play. It is interesting in the meta being at a 7 cost uninkable, but Sapphire Steel can get away with running cards like that. They still sometimes or indefinitely play Fishbone Quill, and we have Tipo as well to get those uninkables out of the hand and into the inkwell. So again, the enchanted version is the highest rarity, and it's not being played as a four of. You will need like two, possibly three copies at most if you're going very greedy there. But this card might shake up the meta.
Yeah, a lot of sales as you can see here in December from the 7th to the 19th, all within the $70 to $80 range. So if you have one of these, people are might be looking for it, right? Lady Tremaine is an enchanted rare that doesn't really move in price. If anything, has been coming down a little bit from like 75 to $70 again, and I think it's like one of the best enchanted rares in terms of just the card pool. I think this is a very powerful card. 6 cost uninkable, very good in Ruby Amethyst, and lowest verified is now 69 with $3 shipping by Game and Company, then $73 by Cartridge. So these are some other enchanted rares that are actually still being played in the meta regularly and don't really see a lot of price movement, which is interesting to see, right? Because from December all the way to December 19th, yeah, plenty of them selling for 65 to $75. Bad and on going up this week in price a little bit for whatever reason from 35 to the end of November to now the lowest verified is $44 with $1.44 shipping by Untapped Games or $45 by Old World Arizona. This might be just because people want to collect this card because it is a Wreck-It Ralph card technically. I oftentimes people ask at the booth, oh, I want every card from this specific franchise. I want every card from Wreck-It Ralph or every card from Lilo and Stitch. And technically, if you're building every card from Wreck-It Ralph, you need Badanon, right, Zach?
100%. This definitely is a card that was. I know a lot of people shared that they felt really bad when they pulled this card. It wasn't the enchanted that, in terms of getting back your value, is what you want, right? But this is a interesting, thing to look at when the card was barely cracking 32, $33 to jump up at $10 in that spike. Is it seeing play? Are people just scooping it up because it's cheap? I really would like to know why this one is kind of going up in price. And to be honest, its effect could only get better, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of its ability. In terms of a location, though, it's a three cost inkable that has 7 willpower and it gives you 1 lore. So if you are playing a location strategy, maybe there is a world where Abaddon is used because it has 7 willpower. That's a pretty hefty willpower for a location. Library has 8, Castle, Queen's Castle has 7. So it's up there. With a heavy willpower there, but and also the artwork is really nice. You got a Wreck-It Ralph there helping out one of the other fellow villains in the anonymous villain support center. Hilarious. Ariel Sonic Warrior. This card not necessarily moving in price at all. It kind of sticks around this 180 to less than $200 mark. Rose Duelist cards is gonna have it for 183. I have been seeing some Amber Steel players use this card though to shift for Ariel character with 3 strength, 8 willpower, and I think that in a steel mirror match, this card makes a big difference, right? That 8 willpower is going to be really tough for like any steel deck to banish this character. However, if you're playing against a Ruby deck, you're one Ice Block Brawl combination away from just wasting your shift capability, shift characters, or you're one Madame Medusa away from that getting banished. So it is a very good card. I've been seeing a lot of people play it. However, it's probably not the most popular card in Amber Steel. Zach, you're an Amber Steel player. What do you think of Aerial Sonic Warrior in the meta?
So this is a character I have yet to really test and explore. Personally, shift characters I feel like are a little bit too risky. And the more I think about it, like you are removing a character from your board to just play another character over it. When you ship this on 4, you won't even have enough ink to pay to use her ability in play. So she's going to have to wait a whole nother turn. And I don't really like cards that can't get their value in immediately when they're played. The Shift Queen can have their effect go off. Chef Robin Hood can challenge and start gaining you lore while removing characters. This has to wait a whole nother turn, so I'm very indifferent about it. However, if the meta does become slow enough, or if mid-range decks become more popular, this card by far will be very good into steel mid-range decks.
I can see that for sure. It's a lovely enchanted, and if you want to put any of these lovely enchanteds in any lovely sleeves or any of your meta decks in awesome sleeves, consider putting them in pristineprotectiontcg.com's sleeves. And if you go on their website and buy some of their sleeves, you can use code Goons10 to save 10% on your order. These are the sleeves that Zach and I use when we play any Disney Lorcana challenges or local tournaments, or even if I just want to have cards in a nice top loader right here, I'd be using the Pristine Protection sleeves to keep them in there, keep them nice and secure. I like it a lot in terms of comparing them to other sleeves, the feel of them. Zach, do you have anything to say about the brand?
So yeah, the amount of colors available right now are limited. So make sure you guys are checking back. Make sure you guys get the colors you'd want. We are requesting that they produce more of certain colors, but let us know if you have ordered any of these sleeves, guys, and what colors you like.
Yeah, oh, they got yellow. That'll be super nice. Yellow on top of my brown mat. Oh, that'll be lovely. Love to see it. Let's get on into some more cards, though. Maui, the half shark. It's shark season. We're on Shark Watch. We're watching the Maui shark just kind of dominate the meta in terms of at least market prices. Check this out, Zach. They're not selling for $35 anymore, though. I think they peaked at around 40 and they kind of bounced off, right? Now you can find them for as low as $30. Mystic TCG 29.22 for your Maui half sharks, and they have 4 of them for you. So if you've been saving up your Christmas money, you can spend it all in one seller and get your playset of Maui half sharks. We have set championships just around the corner, right? Set championships start in January. So if you start placing orders right now on cards, I want to say it takes about a week, maybe 2 weeks at most to get some of these cards to your doorstep. So you will probably have your cards by the day of the first round of set championships in January. So maybe consider placing some orders right now. These cards are coming down in price. Maui Shark was almost $40. Now it's $29.99. Grading TCG is the next lowest verified. Cold foils, Zach, you predicted a $50 price for cold foils, and check this out. Pretty spot on. 53.53 is the lowest verified by Top Deck Keep, and it looks like they're going to be settling around that $50 to $55 mark for your Maui half sharks. Very cool, very cool. Robin Hood. Lowest verified today is going to be 23.85 by Cardboard Castle. They have three of them for you. Check that out. They went from around $30 to $25. Now they're a little bit cheaper than 25 earlier. In the history of Lorcana at around July, June, September. These were as high as $40. So these are almost half off, 50% off, right? From what that was right now. And I think Robin Hood is still pretty good right now. Amethyst Steel, Amber Steel, Sapphire Steel, they all have the potential to play this Robin Hood shift character. What do you think?
You know, I did get the pleasure to cast an excellent match between Diego Saz and Harlan Sweet. And in Harlan Sweet's list in his Sapphire Steel, he was playing the Robin Hood package, the one drops and this shift card. So we might see this card come back again with the new Alice character from the new set. That card can give any of your characters ward and an extra lore. So being able to just quest out, have ward means you can't get Medusa.
Yeah, that Alice character is kind of nice, and being able to put ward on a character like this that already has a pretty big willpower just means that, like you said, you won't be able to target it with cards like Medusa, Ice Block Sisu, which and like Ruby cards are usually like the way you want to stop steel cards. It's kind of what it feels like in Lorcana. But being able to give your steel cards ward, who would have thought? Who would have thought that was good, right? So that new Alice card's pretty nice. We'll look into that too later. Diablo Devoted Herald. This card just coming down in price, selling for as low as $20 now. Cardboard Castle has them for 2020 with $1 shipping. It wasn't that long ago, right? If I'm not mistaken, where people were making whole videos talking about how Diablo should be banned. Now it almost feels like Diablo is not even in the format, like unless you're running into an Emerald Steel deck. It almost feels like Emerald is just not touching this card. Emerald Amethyst is probably the more popular Emerald deck of the meta right now. There's even some people using Emerald Sapphire. Emerald Amber doesn't use Diablo. Actually, they do. Yeah, if you're using the Diego or like the Kawa list, you probably are playing Diablo. But it doesn't feel like this card is the menace that it used to be. I'd like to thank Genie for that. You know what I mean? I think Genie made a big impact on how people perceive the ability of Diablo, but it could also be the fact that other cards are keeping up, other decks can keep up in the format, and maybe people are just tired of playing Emerald Steel. What do you think?
You know, there is a lot of evasive answers and tools. You know, Maui Shark being a card in the meta. We have the Genie, of course, and the 5-drop Elsa. That is just all cards that love to see a Diablo exerted in play. And in my honest opinion, it's a little too expensive to have to discard a card in shift nowadays. Even though it's going to replace itself, it doesn't survive long enough to kind of get that oppressive value. You still need to be able to like discard the opponent's hands, and without enough characters in play, you won't be able to do that. And Amethyst can still like maintain their board presence. There's still Go to Mago that characters that card can be played on 2, doesn't have
Yeah,
to be played on 4. So there's just too many answers to Diablo right now.
I forgot about the Go-Go. That's a huge one. Because Go-Go is just a two drop you can play. Yeah, Go-Go, very nice in the format too. Let's move on to Maleficent Monsters Dragon. This card selling for $15 for the non-foil today. Wow, super cheap. Cardboard Castle has you here for 15.60. They got four of them ready for you to go. However, if you want cold foil Monsters Dragons, there's not that many listings left. The price did come down a little bit because they were selling for around $90, almost $100 at one point, but they didn't come down too much. You're still gonna have to pay close to $80. Status Quo Gaming, 77.90, shipping included, so around 78. After that, 77 with $1 shipping, 77 with $2 shipping. So it's pretty much an $80 cold foil still for the Monsters Dragon, whereas the non-foils, they're $15. And this is one of those cards where I am very much like maybe get the cold foil instead of the non-foil because of how drastic the non-foil price comes down. These were easily selling for $35 in June or July. When Red Blue was perceived to be the best deck, and I think Red Blue still is one of the best decks right now, but it's really the only deck that can afford to play Monstrous Dragon. And I should know. I've been trying to play this in Ruby Amethyst, and it's just not working for me, Zach. It's just not working in Ruby Amethyst. You never draw it against Red Blue when you need it. You always draw it in the early game, and then against other decks, you don't even get a chance to get to 9 ink sometimes, right? Some more power cards in the meta. Sisu Empowered Sibling going up in price this week. They were selling for around $15 before. And if you didn't get them for that price, you're gonna have to pay close to $20 now. Kaput Cards has them for 18 with $1 shipping, and it kind of sticks around that price. Wildcat Trading Post has them for 18 with $1 shipping. And then we have another 18.50 with $1.50 shipping. So almost $20 already for your Sisu Empowered Siblings non-foil, by the way. And if you want cold foils, they're going to be selling for, wow, pretty cheap. This is actually really cheap. $21.92 with $1 shipping by Phantom Mike Singles. That's them deals right there. Especially if you're going to be paying 18 with $1 shipping. I would rather much pay 22 with $1 shipping. That's about $4 more, and you get a shiny version of the Sisu, right? This does have an enchanted though, so it's not the highest rarity for you rarity fiends out there. You're gonna have to get the enchanted Sisu.
Yeah, this card is, I think, a one of in Ruby M decks right now. It's also just an oppressive card in red blue, and it's kind of kicked a lot of decks out of the format. I know red blue just tries to find this card against any aggro strategy, and sometimes you just can't stop it. You can't prevent it from coming out. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I'm actually trying two out in Ruby Amethyst. I'm taking it back to Ed Chu. Chris Crispy Christian P. He got top four at one of the SoCal tournaments, and I saw his list. I covered it on the channel. Go check out that video, by the way, if you want to see the meta decks that are doing well. And he was playing two of these with three Be Prepared, and I was like, oh, maybe that is the way, because there's so much Emerald. There's so much Emerald in the format, but it's not Diablo Emerald. You know, it's the Emerald Amethyst deck, or a lot of Amber also. Amber Steel is running amok, and although this does not hit cards like Lawrence or Pluto, it does hit cards like Cindy, Daisy, Piglet, and there's even situations where you can bump your characters into a Lawrence and a Pluto, and then this hits it also, which is pretty nice. So, it's a very good card. It has a lot of utility this format. Genie, wish fulfilled. The Genie Weenie just continuing to kind of stick around this $16 price is what it's looking like. $15.89 with shipping included is what you got to pay by Mystic TCG. Then $15.93 shipping included by Magic Man Games. Though is verified today for your Genie wish fulfilled. Cold foils are still selling for dang near $30. I think 35 was the highest I saw some sell for. As you can see from this chart, that's a little absurd, but $30 still seems like a lot, but it's double the non-foil price, right? 29.72 by Stats Cards, and then Down to Game has it for 30.99 shipping included. So a little bit more than $30 for your cold foil genies. It's a genie format. You know, it's Genie's format, and we're all just living in it. So unless you have Brawl in your deck, unless you have a Genie yourself with a combination of Elsa, you better be playing something like Along Came Zeus, right? Lucky Dimes, these are going down in price this week. A lot of Sapphire Ruby players are switching to only playing one Lucky Dime. And I think it's crazy, but it's a strategy that seems to work. But personally, I think it makes my matchup with Red Blue just a little bit easier. You know, I feel like I used to just lose to Dime all the time against Ruby Sapphire, and now that I know they only play one Dime, I feel a little bit more confident in that matchup as a Ruby Amethyst player. Yeah, Maui Shark is strong, but I mean, three Tremaine is crazy, right? These are going to be selling for as low as $9.97 status quo gaming. They used to be around $15. Now they're going to be around $10. Cold foils are going to be $15. Wow, these coming down in price a lot. In November, October, they were as high as 30, 29, 25, even $20 in the beginning of December, and now low as verified is 17.48. So a little bit more than 15, but we have some non-verified sellers here that have them for 15 with $1.27 shipping. So cold foil Lucky Dimes looking like they're on sale right now. If you just want the one foil for your deck, it's only about $5 more than the non-foil. I think that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, and there are not playing cards like One Jump Ahead anymore. And when you find the card like this off How Far I'll Go, you might be forced to take it if that's still a card you're playing in your deck, but you're not running the risk of inking the only copy you have blindly. There are still some Ruby Sapphire players playing cards like Hideaway or the 6 cost Cusco, but this is just a more of like an extra win condition, because right now you're kind of either playing against more aggro or tempo based decks, and you're trying to fight for the board, and eventually you close out the game with Maui Shark and a bunch of actions. But this is like a fail safe. This is like, oh well, I can't seem to to get enough tempo on board. Maybe I'm just gonna win by questing out and lucky diming my Tamatoas infinite amount of times.
Yeah, it used to be the only strategy. Now it's like one of the strategies you can win with that deck. Because now they're playing Pirate's Life too. So just like you were saying, you could just burst a bunch of lore. I also really like that you mentioned that part about no one jumps in the deck anymore. So you have zero risk. You have zero risk of using a one jump and inking this off the top of your deck without realizing it because you can't look at the ink, right? But yeah, like you said, you're gonna have to pick and choose if this is a card from Halfargo because you risk never seeing it throughout the game ever again unless you're gonna keep dig in. Let's go. Let's get into the Elsa Fit Spirit. This non-foil still selling for close to $8. Lowest verified is by Pro Play Games. 718 with shipping included. They have 7 of them for you. Shout out you guys. Pretty good. Pretty good for a non-foil super rare in Lorcana. Not usually something you see too often. Cold foils are basically the same price. Actually, just about $2 more. 8.98 shipping included by ABC's TCG. This card comes in the starter deck if you didn't know. So if you guys are getting any of these starter decks, you have a $9 super rare cold foil in that starter deck for you ready to go. Calhoun the Goon, Marine Sergeant. This one coming down in price a little bit too. They were selling for around $7, even 8 on a good day, but lowest verified now is by Picante TCG, 524 shipping included. Shout out you guys, really appreciate the low prices today. Cold foils are still around $15. They were selling for as high as 16, but now you can find them for 13.19 with $1.27 shipping, then $12 with $3 shipping. So they're still going to be around $15 for your Calhouns. But they're a little bit cheaper than they were a week ago, so maybe consider picking those up right now. Doc Bold Knight actually just continues to go up. Huge shout out to Brendan DeCandio for getting first place at the 10K with his Dicky Dicky Hole deck. It's an Amber Steel deck that plays the Seven Dwarf Knights, and then it also plays the Seven Doors Mine, and it's a really good deck, and it's been causing a lot of hype in certain cards. And now this dock is selling for around $6. We have Picante TCG 4.96 with $1.27 shipping. Then All Access Card Shop has it for $5 with shipping included. But after that, the next verified is by ABC's TCGs, and they're $5.94 with shipping included. So it's getting close to being a $6 rare, right? Cold foils are selling for more than $15 still. Actually, 15 on the dot. We got crazy deals with a Z, 1468, and they have 3 of them for you. That's a crazy deal right there. I'll give you that. That's some deals. Crazy deals. Milton's Collectibles, 14.99. That's going to be a next verified seller. So $15 for your cold foil. Docs, Madam, Mim, Fox. This card super relevant in the format. No, it's no surprise why it's still selling for almost $5. Look at this though. ABC CCG has 23 of them for you ready to go. So if you want a playset of Foxes, you can get them all from one seller. 315 with $1.27 shipping is the lowest verified by the Vault MKE. So almost $5 if you're going to be buying them online. I want to look at these cold foils though for this card because this card one of the best in the format. Wow. Only a near mint. Check that out. Near mint is selling for 26.25 by Battle Phase. These just continue to stay up here, man. They shot up to $25 and they haven't moved. People paying even more sometimes, 25, 24, 28.83 for 4 of them. So almost $30 for your cold foil, Madam Mim Fox. Dang, this card is so important in the meta right now, right?
Well, it's always just a card people have to kind of focus on. Like when you're trying to see if your deck can survive in the meta, you check for like 2 or 3 different cards, and this is one of them, right? Madam M Fox is just a 3 damage sorry, 3 cost 4 damage burst spell in my eyes. The bounce ability is just a little bit of a bonus because you get some playability with keeping your characters alive after a trade up or getting some more value out of your Merlins. But this Bell Accomplished Mystic is all about the value today. This card, seeing very little play, going for about just under $1 to going up in price about almost $2, $3, $4 up now. And this is a powerful card. I think more people are adding it to their Amethyst strategies. I know Blurple plays more than 2 copies. I know Ruby M's experimenting with 2 copies. And Emerald Amethyst will tech this card in. I know Diego Saws had a couple on his list. And the cold foils, I believe, are going up to around, I'd say, anywhere from 18 to $20. So right there, we have the lurking class cards starting off their seller account at $18 with 99 cents shipping. On average, you will be paying about $20 to $23 when you go to verified sellers. And Yeah, Kevin, do you like this card? Have you been testing it out in any Ruby M decks?
Oh yeah. If you guys watched the Monday Market Watch, I was pretty hyped on this card prior to it doing well at the Continental Championship. I had just been seeing a lot of Blurple players online playing this card. Same thing, people adding it to their purple decks, and I think a lot of it is the interaction with Genie or Elsa. You just have a lot of lingering damage, and you don't have a card like Rapunzel in the purple color, but instead you have a card like Belle, and it works in a similar way where if your opponent doesn't respect this card on curve, you can manipulate the boards to in your favor. You don't get to draw three cards, but you do potentially get to still heal your character for three and then deal three damage to another character, which is honestly really strong because when looking at like the color combination or the color itself of purple, purple has zero removal. There's no removal in a color like purple. However, you have this like pseudo removal ability to move damage around, and you also have the ability to exert characters. And purple C feels a little overpowered sometimes. Where's the removal for Amber, bro? We have Criminal Mind and Queen. Those and what is it? Last Stand. Those are like the only removal cards for Amber. But point is that you have to respect this card if you're playing Lorcana tournaments right now. You have to ask yourself, if I quest with this character, can my opponent run into it and then bell? Or if I challenge this character, was there going to be lingering damage for them to bell? But yeah, it's a very good card. I think cards like this kind of like make the difference in like the player's skill sometimes. Like it's like a skill check, you know. If you're not gonna play around my bell, then I'm gonna really be able to punish you. However, if you do play around my bell, then I'm able to and I can see that, then I know the kind of player you are. So it's very important to consider. Sale, the Azurite Sea Cold Foils. I want to talk about this one. These are going down in price a little bit. Lowest verified is 458 with the $1.27 shipping. So they're selling for around $6 still, but they used to be around $10 at the peak of the format, at the beginning of the format actually. But now they're around $6 for that cold foil. Flynn Riders Frenemy. This cold foil just continues to go up. Lowest verified is 1010 with the $1.09 shipping. By GGAZ cards. That's gonna be the lowest verified. After that though, it jumps up to $15. So from $10 to $15 from verified sellers. Nerd Rage Gaming 14.94. Then Battle Phase 14.95 shipping included. So I'd say it's a $15 cold foil again. Very important in the Ruby Am strategy. Seven Doors Mine. We were just talking about this card because Brendan DeCandio got first place. This cold foil, check this out, selling for as high as $12 to $15 now. Nerd Rage Gaming, lowest verified 11.98. Then 14.95 by Ziggs Card House. Shout out you guys. Zach, what do you think of this card?
Well, like you said, the Diggy Diggy Hole deck, and this card being played in Zan Syed's Emerald Steel updated list. So it's going to reflect the cold foil price because the card is uncommon, and a lot of people slept on this card. You were always talking about it. I will not include you in that point of being asleep here, but this card for sure has seen a dramatic increase in price. And if you had these and picked these up when they were under $1, you're winning today. So look
Yeah.
out, guys. This card will be seeing a lot of play in the LCQs in the North American Continentals,
Mhm.
and who knows if the cold foils will either go down or go up at this point.
Yeah, it's the reason why I still really like cards like Fox and Maui or even Crab in my decks because I know people are going to be playing Seven Doors Mine and in a variety of steel decks, not just Amber Steel, by the way. Like you just said, Zenside playing in Emerald Steel, people probably playing it in Purple Steel. Along Came Zeus is a very important card this meta. I think people are starting to kind of figure out that you can play this in every steel deck, not just Amber Steel, and this just clears genies. This just completely eliminates a genie. They're pretty cheap. They were selling for less than $3 a couple weeks ago, but they've been going up in price just a little bit. Lowest verified today is going to be 318 with a $1.27 shipping, and they kind of stick around that price around 350 with a $1.50 shipping. So I would start saying these are $5 rares again. No longer less than $5. You're gonna have to pay $5 for your non-foil. Along Came Zeus, and cold foils are selling for pretty cheap. Check this out. They had a big old bump and they came coming down. They just came down. Those verified is going to be $6.99 by Underground Games, and then it kind of sticks around that price, $6 with a $1.27 shipping by the Lounge TCG, $7.44 shipping included by Rush Hour Collectibles. So around a $7 cold foil, but a $5 non foil. So personally, I'm just gonna pay $2 more, get the cold foils, right? But that's gonna be all for this week's Market Watch. Remember, guys, first chapter. These are continued to sell for 320, and I want to hear from you guys. Do you think we're finally done printing the first chapter, or is it just the hype for now? Until then, stay tuned to Lorcana Goons. Zach, do you have anything to say before we call it a day?
Guys, make sure to get your Goon shirts. Help support the channel. Link will be in the description. I think you guys can actually purchase it straight from the YouTube section. I think I'll have a little shop for us. So make sure to get your Goon shirts, guys, while supplies last. And we are looking into expanding our sizes available. So stay tuned to those, guys. And as always, we'll see you Goons next time.